Enough?
No. This is art. We need more shots.
Right, we're doing this for like 40 minutes.
Just a few more.
Barrett's getting bored.
You two just don't understand the true
Mate, we're going.
nature
Come on,
of-
Eric. Let's go.
It's
Let's
art!
go.
Where are you going? Art! Just a few more shots. That ought to do it. The Blair Witch Project. The movie that has critics and fans to this day completely split down the middle. On one hand, the film had a budget of a mere $20,000 and still managed to rake in $248 million worldwide, making it one of the most successful independent films of all time. So much so, it was the highest grossing independent movie ever made until My Big Fat Greek Wedding came out in 2002. It even made it into the Guinness Book of World Records for the top budget box office ratio for a mainstream feature film, the ratio being $1 spent for every 10,931 made. On the other hand, it is the highest rated film on Rotten Tomatoes to be nominated for a Razzie for Worst Picture. Whether you love it or hate it, nobody can honestly deny the impact and influence that this movie left in the world of cinema. True, it also left us a shit stain of a sequel that made me want to castrate orphan babies with a hacksaw while sacrificing their blood to Satan himself, but it paved the way for an entire genre that has now become quite the trend in recent years. Although the Blair Witch Project wasn't the first of its kind, the found footage genre actually goes as far back as 1980 with Cannibal Holocaust, it was a revolutionary explosion of success. The movie is about three aspiring filmmakers creating a documentary about the legendary Blair Witch. They go about the town of Burkittsville, Maryland, talking to locals about certain stories of the witch before hiking through the supposed haunted woods. These are treated as real tapes discovered, and the entire movie is shot by these three actors, Heather, Josh and Mike. Throughout the film they get lost, and it's treated like a genuine behind the scenes of the documentary. They get into arguments, they hear strange noises at night, they come across bizarre symbols, Josh goes missing, leading to a truly terrifying climax where we see Mike and then Heather get taken out by an unseen force, but their fate is never actually explained. So, how did the tapes get out? Just saying. Seriously, if we were to believe that these are real tapes, the Blair Witch doesn't let anybody get out alive. So, how were the tapes discovered? Did the fucking Blair Witch personally take the tapes to the post office and mail them to the police station with a first-class stamp? Although certain sections of the movie, I believe, haven't aged well, that is merely down to the fact that Hollywood has now ran this concept into the damn ground. Found footage is now overdone to death, so looking back, some parts can grow quite tiresome, but it's not a reflection of the film itself, just the years that followed. As explained, the final parts of the film still hold up. Heather and Mike hear Josh's screams of terror from inside an abandoned house which is covered with children's bloody handprints and rush around frantically trying to find him. It leaves the viewer's heart racing and it's purely terrifying. So much so, Heather claimed she would actually hyperventilate and cry her eyes out long after they had actually finished shooting. Unlike many others of its kind, this film actually had a reason to be found footage. It had a reason to have so much being filmed. Josh and Mike constantly yell at Heather for filming them being lost, but it makes sense when...
I see why you like this video camera so much.
You do?
It's not quite reality.
Reality says we gotta move.
No, but it's totally like a filtered reality, man. It's like you can pretend everything's not quite the way it is.
In addition to it working as a behind-the-scenes featurette, the film they're making, it is also one of the few found footage films that looks like it could have actually been real. Firstly, they didn't release fucking alternate endings until later. Admittedly, it would have been even more believable without closing credits, but they have to legally be included. Regardless, the film itself looks genuinely legit throughout. You know how in Wreck, the cameraman just films his mates being eaten by zombies instead of helping them? Seriously, Wreck's a great film, but that's always bothered me. This doesn't have that. When they're in fear, all we see is grass or a black screen, because in those situations, you wouldn't exactly be Spielberg focusing on your camera work. Many things were missed out of the frame, which made it that more realistic. At one point, Heather yells, "Oh my God, what the fuck is that?" as she sees a crew member in a weird costume at a shot and Josh didn't pick it up. It leaves it all to your imagination, which is incredibly clever, unique, and definitely refreshing in a time when horror movies were growing quite stale. Although not the first, it took the concept and made it groundbreaking, different, and horrifying for its time. The concept was thought up as early as 1993 when the directors Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez realized that paranormal documentaries actually scared them more than general horror flicks. They wanted to combine the two, leaving most of the terror to the unknown. They also credit many films as the influences and inspirations such as The Shining, Alien, The Omen, Haxan, and even Jaws. One of the original script pitches was to actually have a giant-sized version of a stick figure they found in the woods chase them. Yeah, that would have been taken seriously. Stick monster! This was surprisingly rejected, as the directors wanted the antagonist to be malevolent but never seen. The film was originally supposed to continue after their deaths, and the viewer would see the aftermath, including news media discussing their disappearances and even interviews with the family members. This was scrapped as they felt it didn't seem real enough. Personally, I find it much more scary with the less you see. As much as I love the Saw movies, they leave very little to the imagination, whereas classics such as this, The Haunting, or the others leave a lot to the viewer's own interpretation. We never see what happens to them all, and that's what's scary. Originally, we were going to see Mike being hanged, but it was cut out to add more fear to the viewing experience. What happened? You have to decide, and that's what's genius about it. It scares you without scaring you. The immense amount of footage, approximately 19 hours in total, took an entire 8 months to edit down to 90 minutes. Just the motel room scene alone was originally an hour and a half long. In fact, the first rough cut of the movie actually stood at 2.5 hours long. Other concepts that were cut was a love story blossoming between Heather and Josh. It was dropped as they feared it may be too cliche, and this proves that not every horror movie needs a damn love story. In fact, the actress of Heather actually took a knife with her to film in the woods because she hated the thought of sleeping with 2 men. Didn't stop my ex. Casting took place in New York, and the directors were seeking 3 actors with exceptional improvisation skills. The entire movie was more or less ad-libbed. Throughout the process of the film, the producers left the actors a trail and some messages for what to do, but the rest was completely spontaneous. Heather was actually told by producer Greg Hale, "Your safety is our issue, your comfort is not." Wouldn't you trust that guy? When casting, the actors were given a scenario and had to improvise a response. If they hesitated for too long, they were shown the door. Heather was asked, "You're served 7 years of a 9-year sentence. Why should we let you out on parole?" Her response was, "I don't think you should." All of the scenes in the film are actually real. The actors had no idea what was in store for them. They were actually lost several times. They were actually pissed off when they ended up back at the same spot and had spent an entire day walking in a circle. The directors would make unplanned noises in the woods, attack the tent at night, play sounds of children crying through speakers, leave symbols everywhere, and even rid the actors of food to truly bring out their trauma.
Woke up this morning, just like 2 seconds ago, and there are piles of rocks outside of our tent.
Oh no, not rocks! But they're evil rocks!
Holy shit. It's a house.
It's an evil house! Furthermore, the Blair Witch mythology was completely bogus. During filming, the actors were told that it was a real story and the locals were all legitimate townsfolk. They were planted actors, and it made them that more terrifying. A bit sick, but it's directing genius at its finest. By the way, these people are way too okay with being filmed. This would never happen in real life. Hey mate, do you want to be in my film?
What the fuck? Why would you do? Get out!
No, Blair Witch!
Why? You do that to someone, you don't come up to a stranger. That's nuts!
Mike and Heather didn't even know that Josh was going to vanish during the film. It was originally supposed to be Mike, but the directors left Josh a note telling him to wait for them to fall asleep before leaving the tent. He had to wait 45 goddamn minutes. The acting is absolutely tremendous by all 3. It's ironic because when Heather is doing her monologue for her film within the film, the acting is just awful. But when it comes down to the actual movie that we're watching, she's fantastic. An actor who has to act like they can't act is a very talented person. It's not an easy thing to do. But you know, I wouldn't know. However, the famous scene that was always parodied to death is actually incredible. The acting is astounding, but Heather actually messed up the shot. It was originally intended to be a full shot of her whole face, but she zoomed in too far. However, the director loved the effect and how much snot we could see, and he kept it in. Lovely. But it is honestly one of the most heartbreaking, scariest, and best acted scenes I have ever seen in a horror movie in my life. This scene alone shows that Heather did not deserve to even be nominated for a Razzie for Worst Actress. Yeah, can you believe that? Heather was not only nominated for a Razzie for Worst Actress, she won it! Okay, granted, Al Pacino has a Razzie, but still, the actors were to remain in character for the entirety of the 8-day shoot unless one of them spoke the safety word of taco. At that moment, everyone would break character and filming would halt. The trio are very, very genuine, although they argue a lot.
I ain't going down there.
Why not?
Because I'm not. I don't hear shit.
Because you're fucking scared.
Because I don't hear anything anymore.
Because you're fucking scared. You could not deny hearing it.
Get the fuck off me, man!
What the fuck are you out of your fucking mind?
I'm not out of my mind.
Right,
The map doesn't do shit.
Do you realize? Not to you, but I do what the fuck that map says!
You're lost. You're angry in the woods, and no one here is here to help you. There's a fucking witch, and she keeps leaving shit outside your door. There's no one here to help you. She left little trinkets. You fucking took one of them. She ran after us. There's no one here to help you. We walked for 15 hours today. We ended up in the same place. There's no one here to help you. That's your motivation.
They make mistakes and have very real flaws to the personality. They're very enjoyable to watch, and it's a shame that Heather had trouble finding work after this. Due to the film's bad nature and I guess sick promotion techniques, she was harassed and even received death threats, giving her very little luck finding further acting work. The Blair Witch Project was the first widely released movie marketed for the most part entirely by the internet. The promotion was just as genius as the direction. The film's official website actually presented fake police reports and interviews insisting the movie to be real, genuine found tapes. At early screenings of the film, flyers were handed out asking viewers to come forward if they had any information about the supposed missing students. Even the film's IMDb page listed the actors as missing, presumed dead in the first year. The movie's website even went as far as to include photos of the actors as children, and it was so convincing, Heather's real-life mother was bombarded with several condolences in the form of phone calls from people truly believing that her daughter had gone missing or passed away. The film was shown at the 1999 Sundance Film Festival, and many still believed it to be real. I guess they never stuck around to read the closing credits. But to his credit, when Heather first read the outline, she actually asked the directors, and I quote, "Are you making some kind of snuff film?" The movie was so believable, fans literally flocked to Burkittsville, Maryland, some even stealing the entrance sign, and tried to search for proof of the Blair Witch's existence. The graveyard was desecrated and required police protection, and it was so bad the local cinema refused to show the film there. Upon release, reception was incredibly split between critics and fans. Some thought it was one of the scariest movies of all time, some saw it about as terrifying as an episode of Peppa Pig. Because the filming was done by the actors themselves, a lot of the footage was shaky, causing many viewers to feel queasy and even vomit in cinemas. The movie was also originally in a much higher resolution, but the directors decided to reduce the camera quality on purpose in order to make it seem more believable. It also does unfortunately follow the stupid cliche of, well, this.
Hello? Hello?
Why do people shout out hello in a horror movie? Yeah, I'll be there soon. Yeah, I just gotta get some stuff sorted. Call you back. Hello?
Morning. I'm in the kitchen. Do you want a cuppa?
Rationally say they might very well go on forever compared to our footsteps.
Not possible. Not possible in this country.
Why is it
Not
not
possible.
possible?
Because this is America and it's not possible.
I mean, if we were in Norway, maybe we'd be screwed, but not in America, that's just impossible. After release, to continue the film's claim that they were real events, despite the fucking credits, in September 1999, D.A. Stern compiled the Blair Witch Project, a dossier. It consisted of more phony police reports, pictures, interviews, newspaper articles, and another was created for the sequel. A year later, in 2000, Stern would then write the novel Blair Witch, The Secret Confessions of Rustin Parr, and in 2004 continued with another named Blair Witch Graveyard Shift with all of the original characters and plot points. Talk about not letting a franchise die. The actress who played Heather actually issued this public apology for the sequel being made.
I am so sorry for everything that has happened. Because in spite of what Mike says now, it is my fault. Because it was my project.